Howdy folks, welcome back to Blender Beginners Week 3 question and answer session, Q&A session. And I've got two guaranteed fixes for broken mesh imports into OpenSim in SecondLife. Now the very first one of those is if you happen to import something and it looks like faces are missing, they're not there, they're kind of see-through even though they look fine on your model in Blender, this is the fix for it. Now here we can see my car, it looks as if it should be fine. It's not. I've broken it deliberately to show you what I mean. So if we go into edit mode, and you can see that I've got some faces selected and some not. Doesn't really matter about that, but we'll select all of them. Now I'm going to go to overlay mode, which is this selection here, the overlays, and there's an option there when you're in edit mode to click face orientation, and you'll notice now I've done that. Let me put my screencast keys on as well. You'll notice now that I've done that, bits of the car are red and bits are blue. Why in goodness name is that? And I'll tell you the answer. The car, the mesh on the car, each one of these faces has what's called a normal, and a normal is something that points out at 90 degrees to the actual face of the mesh itself. And mesh in Blender by default is single-sided. It only points in one given direction, and we can see that if we go back into our overlay and I go to the normal section and just click on the normal section, make the size a bit bigger, you can see, for example, the blue bits have got these little hairs. They're actually the little strands kind of showing you that those faces are all pointing in the right direction. They're all pointing away from the car, out from the car, and they're coloured blue in this case. You'll notice the red bits, well, they don't seem to have any little bits of string, little normal things pointing out from the car. That's because they're actually flipped. They're the wrong way round, those faces, and if I imported it, it wouldn't look right in OpenSim or SecondLife. So what we can do is we can go into our selection, select everything, and do mesh, normals, and do recalculate outside. And when we do that, as soon as we do that, you'll see that the car goes completely blue, all the normals are shown, so that will fix any issues with what looks like missing faces when there are no faces missing. So let me just undo that. Okay, and so let's get on to our next point. And this was actually my mistake, so I apologise for this. You can see that I've already applied the materials, they're all fine. That's what's on the car at the moment. I've also created a UV map. So let's have a look at how we left it in the actual tutorial. And although this looks fine, that won't actually import correctly, because I mistakenly said you need to delete the shader, the BSDF shader. So let's add that back in. So we go add shader, and we want a principled BSDF. We're just going to drag that in there so it goes between the UV texture itself. So I can select that, put it into the base color. You connect the BSDF into the surface like that, and as long as we've got our UV map selected, which we have, we should be fine. We're now in the situation of being able to delete these materials if we want to, because of course we're using the UV map. So let's just do that. I'm going to delete all those so that we're just left with the UV map. There it is. And we're now good to export that. So I can select the car, file, export, collada. I'm going to save it on my desktop. Actually, I'm going to go to presets first OpenSim static, selection only, make sure that the texture is selected, and I'm going to call it newest, newest underscore green car DAE. Save it on my desktop, and that's exported it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pause the video and we'll go into OpenSim and import that and make sure that it looks okay. So see you in a minute. Welcome back. So here we are back in OpenSim. So let's upload our mesh model. So upload mesh model, newest green car, there it is. I'm just going to call it, I'll call it the same as the import. So newest green car, and let's have a look at our upload options. So model looks alright, there's no missing faces, which is good, exactly what we want. We can go to upload options and say include the texture, click on the texture button, and there we can see it's perfectly textured. So we can just import that now. Should only take a second. Upload. There it is in my inventory. We can bring it in world, and there we have it. You should see that that's pretty much textures as we would expect to see it. So I hope that's been helpful for you. It's been helpful for me, and I'll look forward to seeing you next week. So keep your eye on the Blender class, and everybody take care. Bye for now.